Alright, can I talk? Alright, well basically my name's Rasty, a graffiti artist from Johannesburg. I've been doing graffiti for about 8 years now. So it's what I do full time. It's a profession for me. I do it on commission basis. I do jobs for people. I paint murals and that type of thing. We've also recently opened a graffiti store, base store in Braamfontein, where we sell graffiti merchandise, products, spray paint, all kind of graffiti and street art related products and stuff like that. Graffiti, basically what graffiti is about, a brief history, is that in the early 70s in the New York region and Boston, around there, east coast of America, a lot of guys started just writing their names with Cokie pens, like on subway walls, on their neighborhood walls, kind of just marking their territory, writing their name, like if they had a nickname or something like that. And it just started with Cokies, and everyone would just start doing it so eventually the place got filled. So then someone thought of using a spray can to write their name instead, because it was bigger and you could make it bolder and that type of thing. So as an evolution of its start, as the evolution started, basically it was the whole thing of it started getting bigger. People tried to make their names bigger. So from just a little signature, it became like a throw of bubble letters where it's just two colors. And so it grew into something where people started putting more and more technical skill and all that type of thing into it, So it grew bigger and bigger from just being a signature. Eventually it became people painting murals on walls and stuff like that. So essentially graffiti is about fame, is about getting your name, putting your name up and showing people that you're there and what you can do, that this is also kind of your neighborhood, claiming back public space and saying that this is where you are and this is your space as well. So graffiti art is basically it's a huge thing, you know what I mean? It starts it's just the simple tags from guys doing tags and the more kind of illegal aspect of it. It grows into something more productive where you start painting murals and pictures and stuff like that, where it's more a legal aspect, So although it seems destructive, in the long run it's a very constructive and creative process, you know what I mean? It's not, it isn't related to anything negative in terms of beliefs or religious aspects or anything like that, you know what I mean? It's just someone personal saying, here I am, this is me, and this is my space, I'm putting my stuff here for everyone to see, whether you like it or not. Graffiti artists aren't looking for they're not looking to be accepted. They're just putting their stuff out there like anyone else and saying, here it is, take it or leave it, you know what I mean? I think a reason a lot of people have a kind of issue with it is because they have no control over it, People like to have control over their environment and their every aspect of their life, but that's not the way it can be, you know what I mean? So I think that's the thing that makes people uneasy, is that people can go out and put their signature up. But at the end of the day, you got to, what I always tell people is that you got to take the good with the bad. A lot of people say to us, oh, we really like the big pictures, the murals and the the artistic side, but we don't like the tagging and the the destructive side. But you can't. What I say is you got to take the good with the bad. You can't have the one without the other. Kids can't just pick up a spray can and start painting like big pictures and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They've got to start with the really simple stuff, which is you have to start small and with the basics. And that for them that's just coming up with a name and a signature. And you either do it for a while and get bored of it and stop, or you learn that there's more to it, not just doing your name, not just destroying property, but actually you can become quite artistic and take it further and develop a style and techniques and that type of thing, So it's something that I feel is very constructive for the youth. For me personally, when I got into it, I was like 17 years old, didn't really have like much of an idea of what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to kind of do something creative, but I didn't know what. And I started getting into graffiti, especially from like rebellious side and all of that, but then it kind of sparked something inside me, and over the years it's just grown into something that I do. It's an everyday part of my life, you know what I mean? everything in my life revolves around graffiti. So I'm not saying that every youth that does graffiti should go and do it commercially, but it can take you places. It opens doors for you that you wouldn't really think it does. You know what I mean? It throws you out there, and it's something that you can have an output in. You know, it's something for kids to have an output, have a little say. You know what I mean? It's like it's like you know, another aspect of hip hop where you can get your voice out there, say here I am, I'm a youth, and this is what I've got to say. You know, so yeah, it's for me personally, I see it as a very constructive thing for the youth, and you know, you got to take, like I say, the good with the bad.
Okay, the best graffiti you've ever done, where can you see it?
My best works, we work a lot in Newtown, just because they're very open to kind of graffiti and stuff like that. So I have a lot of my favorite pieces around Newtown, all over kind of central Johannesburg and the suburbs that surround it, like Yeoville and Berea, Troyville, these areas where people are kind of open to the graffiti form and you know, that type of thing, where we'll come up there and we'll say, you know, like there's a wall that's looking really like old and grotty, and maybe it's got a whole lot of tags on it or whatever. We'll go find the owner of the property and say, you know, can we use this wall and paint, and we'll out of our own pockets we'll take the paint, and you know, we'll come and paint something that everyone can appreciate, you know, the whole neighborhood can appreciate, and that type of thing. So every work for me is also different. You know, every time I try paint, I try to challenge myself with something new. You know, I don't want to just kind of stay on the level where I am. I always want to try and challenge myself, push myself, try something new, you know. So yeah, once I've painted a few pieces, the other ones are old, you know, you still like them, there's a few that you still like, but you know what I mean, you're trying something new all the time, so I'm always looking forward to the next piece, you know. But yeah, I mean, we had a very popular one here in Newtown about George Bush, just in the square over here, and then we've done quite a few nice ones on Louis Botha along the Yeoville and Berea there as well.
Another one under the bridge when you're going to that art center there, just around
I painted two on the pillars and then another wall further up, and recently over the weekend we just did one in the alley there by Carfax. So yeah, I mean, we these days we're doing really nice big walls. Also, a lot of the jobs that we get in these days entails doing nice big murals where the client actually gives us quite a bit of creative freedom and encourages us to use our style and to, you know, and those are the kind of jobs that we really enjoy, because you can have your creative freedom. You don't feel like you compromising anything or that type of thing, you know. So the thing is, you know, for me it kind of just happened by accident. I was always, you know, I was doing graffiti for the fun of it, and then someone would ask me to do a painting for them here, and it started really small, you know, like a small job here where the guy just pays for the paint, and eventually it grew, and over the years now eventually we've established a reputation where people know that we have a very good quality of work and our standard is good, and we work professionally, so you know, we can kind of charge the price that we want, and then people also, you know, respect and have more of respect for your skill as an artist. You know, when you first kind of start, they think, you know, graffiti is just something that anyone can do, you know, but as you build a reputation and a quality of work, people see, okay, if you want really good work, you go to this person or that person, you know. So it's all about putting in the hard work, and it takes years, you know. A lot of guys want to start graffiti and have instant results, you know what I mean, and it's not, graffiti is not something that works like that, you know, like it is
like school, even at school, you just go grade 1 until
you can't learn standard 6 when you're in standard 1. It just won't work for you. You won't know what they're talking about. So that's why it's important to get in there. When you start graffiti, get in there and start from the basics, you know what I mean? Work your way up slowly and develop your skill as you develop your style and stuff, you know. So because it is one of those things that learning can control and how to work different kind of paints and what to do, and you know, it is something that's trial and error. Someone could, you know, lay out all the basics for you, but it's still up to you. You'd still have to go out and paint to learn what they're talking about. Be like, oh, okay, that's what he meant when he said that. You know, it's one of those things that's trial and error, and it comes with time and patience and lots of hard work, you know. My first pieces were terrible, you know. They were, you won't see them, and they're all covered now. And but yeah, I mean, that, you know, if I look at the pictures now, I'm like, oh, geez, you know. But that's the way it is. You won't get instant results. It's a matter of practice and sketching and developing your skill, and you know, and also what's important is to maybe, you know, find some other guys that are on the same level as you, also starting, you know, and guys that you have similar interests with, and learn about graffiti together with them. It also helps if you have one or two guys with you and you're learning together, you know. Yeah, so it's one of those things you really have to put the time and have the patience for. Yeah.